Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up? Appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today?
Mayor Karen Bass says she's investigating the decision she made to head to Ghana days before the LA fires. She also wants doctors to open her brain to find out why she's so stupid.
Karen Bass's Wi-Fi practically gave up the moment Greg Gutfeld dropped his shocking revelation. 1 second, she was confidently delivering her polished political address, and the next, it felt like she'd accidentally walked into a live comedy roast as the main act. The transformation from a formal statement to a full-blown spectacle happened so fast, it could make your head spin. And if you think public figures always manage to talk their way out of tight spots, wait until you see this disaster unfold in real time. Buckle up, because this time, Greg came fully loaded and absolutely unfiltered.
Mayor Karen Bass put the gone in Ghana for the president's inauguration. A Sky News reporter confronted her about it when she finally got back, and Karen had a ton to say.
Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your...
If you're enjoying this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Your support goes further than you think. Some politicians try to mask their mistakes behind endless speeches, but Karen Bass takes it to a whole new level with her marathon press conferences. Each time she steps up to the podium, Los Angeles collectively braces itself, almost like someone just yelled incoming. At this point, it's as if Bass has unlocked a secret level in a chaos simulator, because every time she talks about fixing the city, another headline, tent, or carjacking seems to pop up out of nowhere.
Once again, Karen Bass talks out of her ass. Because when destruction occurs, it's everyone's fault but hers. LA Mayor Karen Bass is demanding an investigation into her trip to Ghana. The H is silent. As the LA fires erupted, a trip she made the decision to embark on. Roll it, Lance.
Although there were warnings that I frankly wasn't aware of, although there were warnings, I think our preparation, wasn't what it typically.
Greg Gutfeld saw it all, and he didn't just watch quietly. He took mental notes, probably reached for some popcorn and said, all right, let's unpack this circus. After all, how often do you find a mayor who manages to turn every city update into a full-blown drama? The conversation somehow leaps from homelessness to what feels like a sequel. Homelessness, the next chapter.
To know how she ended up thousands of miles away in Africa. She seems to me like it's pretty simple. She hopped on a plane and flew there. What, did someone blindfold her, throw her in the back of a trunk, and bing, bang, boom, she ended up in Ghana? Nope, she booked a trip, and as mayor, she lives in LA where fires are a part of life. Blaming her absence on someone else is kind of like blaming your hangover on the bartender. It's all on you, Mayor Bass, which means you'll probably be governor in no time.
In Los Angeles, there's a running joke that goes, we've decided to talk about it for 5 years while the problem earns its own zip code. That line perfectly sums up Karen Bass's approach, forming yet another committee to fix everything. Greg Gutfeld nailed it when he said, the city's favorite solution is hiring more consultants because nothing screams progress like paying someone 6 figures to write a report recommending action.
This is an audacious play. You know, it's like OJ saying, like, we need to find the killer.
Yeah. It's like, good luck, Nancy Drew, with this mystery. How did you end up on another continent on a trip that you chose to go on? She's like, we don't know the details, but we're looking into it.
Yeah.
She also promised as a candidate not to leave the country ever as mayor. She loved to go to Africa, she said, but not anymore once I'm mayor. She listed like 5 cities she would ever go to, and that's it. And then here she is for the 4th or 5th time overseas, and this happens. And she's, I guess, so out of any other excuse or idea that she said, we're investigating.
While the people of Los Angeles wrestle with traffic jams, rising violence, and soaring prices, their mayor seems to believe that optimism itself counts as public policy. She keeps promising that LA will soon be a city of the future, though no one expected that future to look like a post-apocalyptic movie directed by the creator of Mad Max. Greg Gutfeld doesn't need fancy graphics or deep analysis to paint the picture. He simply points out what's right in front of everyone, like someone bragging about ending world hunger by rebranding it as food insecurity. That's Bass-level logic in action. When she took office, Bass vowed to bring the city together. Technically, she succeeded. Landlords, renters, pigeons, conservatives, and liberals all share the same frustration. At this rate, Los Angeles could write its own anthem celebrating how united everyone is in their complaints. But the real punchline comes next. Greg isn't just cracking jokes, he's observing patterns. He's noticed that Bass's every plan seems to demand two ingredients: belief and money. The problem? Both are drawn from taxpayers. And judging by the half-finished buildings and forgotten projects dotting the city, it seems LA ran out of cash halfway through. These days, the city has mastered the art of being half-built, half-safe, half-clean, and half-governed. A strange kind of balance that only Los Angeles could perfect.
Bass, best known for going to Ghana while LA burned, just got smoletted. The LA mayor claims ICE kidnapped a migrant mom and held her in a warehouse, hoping she'd self-deport, and adding, quote, "This doesn't make anyone safer." There's just one problem for Karen. The story's a hoax. The so-called victim, a Mexican national, is now facing federal charges for faking her own kidnapping and blaming ICE. The DOJ says Yuriana Calderon staged the whole thing.
According to Greg Gutfeld, Los Angeles keeps pouring millions into temporary housing projects. Yet by the time construction finally wraps up, half the homeless population has already moved or simply set up camp in a new spot nearby. Meanwhile, Mayor Bass keeps hosting ribbon-cutting ceremonies for buildings that mostly exist on PowerPoint slides. The real comedy, though, is her relationship with reality. It flickers on and off like a faulty light switch. Every time crime surges, she reacts as if she's just discovered that gravity is real. She'll say, "We didn't see this coming," while the entire city of Los Angeles collectively shouts, "We did!" Greg Gutfeld has a soft spot for irony, and Bass provides it in endless supply. When she claims the city is safer, the LAPD's crime report practically responds, "You sure about that?" When she promises a cleaner LA, the sanitation crews down in the trenches might as well send postcards saying, "We're trying, but we could use some help." And somehow, Bass has mastered the art of making bad news sound inspiring. She'll proudly announce a 1% drop in homelessness, but before the applause fades, someone's already clutching their catalytic converter. In Los Angeles, progress often feels like a punchline that writes itself.
If you want an endangered fish, I'd say it's the Karen Bass. Her career is up in flames. She called for unity amid this crisis. There is unity. Everybody there thinks you're a full-blown idiot who should resign. I do think you're going to see rage in the next couple of years, because you can't fight fire with platitudes, pronouns, and politics. You need practical solutions.
What really gets under Greg's skin is the irony of it all. Karen Bass remains calm in politics the way a yoga instructor keeps balance during chaos. She smiles through scandals, nods through disorder, and gives speeches so polished they could have been graded by an AI, all while the city crumbles around her like a movie set built on cardboard. It's denial mixed with optimism. Her trademark routine? She insists Los Angeles is on the right track, though no one seems entirely sure which direction that track leads. The only thing actually moving fast in LA right now is the steady flow of residents packing up for Texas. Greg couldn't resist joking that soon, only Bass, a handful of reporters, and a few electric scooters from 2022, long out of charge, will remain. Ironically, she once hailed those scooters as a shining symbol of sustainability. Now they lie scattered across sidewalks like fossilized reminders of failed innovation, poetic, in a tragic sort of way. Once envisioned as a beacon of progress, Los Angeles now looks more like the aftermath of a tech startup that forgot what it was building. These days, people don't just read city reports for updates, they scan the titles to see if the word emergency made the cut. Whether it's a crime emergency or a homelessness emergency, LA seems permanently stuck in one.
Everything she says that's horrible, she does with a smile. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
It's weird.
It's freaky, and it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, wouldn't we all want to have this excuse where I would be like, babe, I'm investigating how I went to the strip club as well. I don't know how that happened. It is under investigation. The winds were blowing that way, but I didn't know, and do I have a chainsaw?
Los Angeles has so many emergencies that they've practically had to hold an emergency conference just to discuss them all. Greg Gutfeld joked that Mayor Bass doesn't need a communications director. What she really needs is a fire alarm. But the true highlight of Greg's roast wasn't her policies, it was her confidence. She attends meetings looking like she's unveiling a groundbreaking study on chaos itself, except instead of offering solutions, she commissions essays about them. Greg quickly spotted the pattern. The more Bass talks about change, the more the city starts to resemble a live-action before and after photo that never quite reaches the after. It's like watching someone repaint a burning house. and calling it renovation, he quipped. Every decision seems to gamble on the idea that optimism will somehow outperform logic. And whenever Greg points out one of her contradictions, her supporters rush to defend her as if he's the problem. By the time Greg was halfway through his monologue, his critique of Bass's leadership had transformed into something between political commentary and stand-up comedy disguised as civic education. After all, it's hard to stay calm when the city's main crime-fighting strategy appears to be crossing its fingers and hoping the problem just disappears.
And the people that offer practical solutions were ignored. Water management, forest management, power line safety, brush clearing, vegetation clearing. You don't fight it with a climate agenda, a DEI agenda, or even a political agenda. And you hear Democrats and the media criticizing Trump and others for speaking out as the tragedy unfolds, as if they don't do it during every mass shooting. But here's the difference. You can't speak out if you were warning people years before.
The funniest moment in Bass's talk about bold actions, which sound more like movie trailers than real plans, comes when, instead of heroes swooping in, a committee shows up carrying matching tote bags. What Los Angeles truly needs is a mission that works, not yet another task force that meets to discuss having meetings. When Bass talks about reforming the police department, Greg Gutfeld barely has to say anything. His sarcasm practically fills in the blanks. Her speeches often sound like puzzles wrapped in mission statements. After 10 minutes, no one's quite sure whether she plans to raise funding, cut it, or just fund the confusion itself. It's almost a talent. Some people can juggle flaming torches, Bass juggles contradictions, and she's faster than a Vegas card dealer spotting a misplaced ace. She'll proudly claim crime is down by 2%, skipping the part where it actually rose 50% the year before. Greg couldn't resist adding, her statistics team must have a dartboard labeled random facts by now, and no conversation about Karen Bass would be complete without mentioning her obsession with appearances. She treats every piece of bad news like it's a permanent stain, convinced that if she spins fast enough, maybe no one will notice.
But you're right. Like the mayor, Karen Bass, she was in Africa at a party. Why was she, who's ever been like, oh, this party sucks, we need Karen Bass? Like, I mean, the last thing you wanted at a party is more Karens, you know?
Greg Gutfeld joked that Bass's team spends more time crafting the appearance of progress than actually achieving it. After all, in Los Angeles, image isn't just important, it's everything. He highlighted how absurd it is that problems always seem to magically get solved right before a camera shows up. The day before one of her press tours, for example, a homeless camp was cleared away. Perfect timing. But as soon as the cameras left, the tents reappeared like NPCs respawning in a video game. Greg didn't even have to exaggerate. The whole situation practically performed itself. Bass runs the city like a Hollywood set, he said. Behind the polished backdrops, perfect lighting, and cheerful slogans, there's not much real structure holding it up. As long as it looks like progress, she seems satisfied. Ironically, Bass might be the first mayor to turn a financial shortfall into a good news headline. Gutfeld loves pointing out those contradictions. Her administration can bury bad news faster than road crews fill potholes, yet she constantly speaks about transparency. It's like watching reruns of the same political sitcom. Same characters, same storyline, slightly worse acting.
It's kidnapped an LA mother on her way to work, but prosecutors say it was a hoax. Karen swears by the story, saying she heard about it from her boyfriend in Chicago.
This, according to Karen Bass, is what building trust looks like. When residents can't even trust their catalytic converters to stay attached overnight, the city's solution is to double the budget for consultants. At that point, suspicion hits its peak. The perfect example of poetic irony. In trying to restore faith in her administration, she only reminds everyone why that faith disappeared in the first place. Greg Gutfeld couldn't resist teasing her town hall meetings, joking that they sound more like group therapy sessions for failed policies. She offers inspiring speeches to people who show up with real worries about how to unite the city. The whole thing feels like a government-issued self-help seminar. Greg also noted the irony in her housing promises. While she praises affordable living, she's often surrounded by developers whose version of affordable means 3 roommates and a 6-figure income. It's less housing policy and more real estate magic trick. The applause light flashes, the money disappears, and somehow nothing actually gets built. Bass, Greg observed, seems to thrive on applause. Every new project is introduced with the energy of a grand premiere, as if presentation alone equals progress. He joked that if speeches could fix potholes, Los Angeles would have the smoothest roads in America.
You again for an update on a place that you know very, very well.
The Pacific Palisades, still very fluid. People are desperately trying to get into the neighborhood because we're hearing about looters. We're seeing videos of people on bikes. Maybe they're scoping out neighborhoods where some homes still stand, and they're convinced that there will be easy passage. And people are really desperate to get in, check on their homes. It's still very difficult to access information.
Another speech on restorative justice. It's like watching someone roast marshmallows while describing a wildfire, completely missing the point while pretending to be in control. Greg doesn't even need props. The absurdity speaks for itself. He's pointed out before that Bass's leadership thrives on illusion, ribbon cuttings for PowerPoint projects, optimism repackaged as strategy, and committees that fix problems only for press photos. So, when she avoids direct answers, it's almost predictable. Her response isn't to fix the problem, it's to redefine it. And the real comedy? The reactions. Every time Greg calls out her contradictions, social media erupts with outrage, as if he's the problem for noticing. Supporters insist she's perfectly normal in a system built on appearances, where looking effective matters more than being effective. In truth, it's laughter, not anger, that unmasks her performance. Because when your city celebrates progress by painting over potholes and calling them features, there's little left to do but laugh. Greg captures that feeling perfectly. In a place where every promise is photo-ready but half-finished, humor becomes survival. After all, when the city itself feels like a live-action parody, you either laugh or you cry.